The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by Mediaclip, Advertech Printing, and Independent Photo Imagers. Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Peugeot.
Hello again, and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Peugeot, and today we're joined by Patrick Collette, who's the founder of Lumica, which is a specialized photo app that has a unique model, which I'm looking forward to talking about. And Patrick's coming to us from Quebec City today. Hi, Patrick. How are you today?
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having me.
So for the people who don't know about Lumica, because it's a relatively new app, can you just talk a little bit about its function? Because there's a lot of apps like it, but I think you're the only one that actually does the thing that you do the way you do it.
Lumica is actually a direct-to-print photography app, if you want to call it so, which means whatever picture you take on our app will go directly to print. So there's no editing. You can't edit your photo once it's taken. There's no cropping. You can't even see it. Once it's shot, it's gone. And we're trying to replicate as much as we can the film photography experience. And in that sense, we're trying to build memories, basically. And that's our whole goal, is to allow people to create memories and not be connected to your phone for that, pretty much. So yes, we are pretty much the only app out there that does this. And that was the whole reason behind making it all together.
Because other apps that are out there that I've seen that have tried to replicate this sort of function, sort of like disposable camera apps, and they've been, those type of things, kind of use a UI that replicates a film experience, even with the winder and some different things, but they don't really replicate the experience. They don't necessarily even do prints, which is what the difference is with your model. Is people literally have to buy a roll of film and then take the pictures.
And in that created that action of taking a picture that you're committed to and goes to your film, you purchase basically our app, you purchase your 24 or 36 shot film, and then every photo is a commitment. And if you go click, it's gone. It's one less picture on your 24 shot roll, and it's committed to be printed. So it'll create the going through the motion of doing that creates value from the get-go. So basically, you won't take a printed picture of your coffee mug because I just want to show it on my social media, or I'd say the going through the motions of taking that photo, knowing it's going to be printed, knowing it's going to have extra value added when you get it, makes you think twice about taking a picture. And not in a bad fashion, in a way that, is this a moment I want to remember for a long time? Right. And we usually say to ourselves, between us in Lumica, that, and we remind ourselves a lot of that, is our phones are a graveyard for memories. There's so many thousands of pictures, like literally thousands. Like, we've gone through people and asking around how many photos you have on your phone. And there's literally like even some tens of thousands of photos on certain phones that just die there. They'll never be looked at. Right. And they'll probably used by AI at some point to generate something. But otherwise,
they'll be data mined in some way.
Exactly. But you're not going to mine those, and they're just going to die there. Right. And once you buy your film roll, so you're putting in money value in a 24 shot. You're going to make sure it counts. You're going to make sure people are smiling. You're going to make sure like everybody's in frame. You're going to put extra attention. And then again, you're adding even more value. Right. And as the exercise goes all the way to 24 shot, and you go print, a lot of those photos you won't even remember until you get them.
Let's walk through this process. What happens? So I buy a roll of film. I have several different formulations I can buy, like a black and white, regular color, and then some other variations which you've developed. And then I shoot the 24, 36 rolls. I say they're done, they go somewhere. What happens on the consumer end? What happens? What is their experience?
Once you're done with shooting your photos, you'll be prompted to send it to development. And obviously, you'll have the options of white borders, black borders with your metadata on, and like time or date on the photos. And you've got a choice of matte and glossy.
Right.
Just like a regular film. And then you just hit print. And about 5 to 10 days later, depending on your geography and where you are, basically they'll be delivered to your home, and from there you'll get your envelope with your 24 pictures in them. Once those are done, we as a company will delete the originals within 60 days. So the only pictures that will exist from this experience will be the ones you're holding. And if you want to share those, well, you're going to take them and give them away, or that's how it goes. You just give them a tangible picture that you can actually put on the fridge in a photo album. And what we did by that is eliminating as much friction once you shoot your shot, basically. Once you're done, it's just choose your finish and gone, done. You don't have to do anything. Shipping's included. You have nothing else to do and wait for your photos.
So the processing and printing is part of the purchase of the roll of film.
So once you buy your film roll, there's nothing else to do but shoot and go print. That's it.
So what about reprints? What if someone really loves a picture and they want to make it a 5x7 or an 8x10 or do something like that? I mean, you've eliminated that from the equation. Currently,
we do 4x6, the standard picture, the one that, throughout the world, basically almost. I'd say almost. We do 4x6. That's all we do. We don't do mugs. We don't do bigger format. We do 4x6, and that's it. Doubles are coming, and something that we do want to be able to do for those 60 days. That once you get your pictures, you'll have a 60-day grace of ordering doubles if you want. After that, it's too late. That option will be gone. And again, it's always about creating memory value,
right?
Where there's no digital copy laying around somewhere for you to think, oh, it's there. No, the print is the value. The moment is the value.
Right.
And once it's gone, just like the moment you took that picture, that moment is gone. And we try to reflect that and put as much value in now. And that was the whole goal of creating Lumica, is to create value in the moment.
Right.
And that was really something we did not want to go into.
Right.
Because doing that would just add water to the mix of making it more valuable.
Well, and people can scan the print, and I mean, they can do things.
Of course, it's your photos, but who does that? Like, I don't remember scanning a picture, like maybe back in the days of early digital and whatnot, but photo albums are scarce now. My kids don't have them. And I'm like, no, we need to change that. We need to bring them back. And not for myself, but maybe for my grandchildren. It would be like, oh, yeah, like old pictures. And there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. Well, when we had our call the other day to prepare for this, I think we were talking about, when you see a movie, a film or a TV show, and somebody's trying to remember like a parent or a prior relationship or something they're trying to make an emotional connection with, they never look on a screen. They're always holding a print, because that conveys to people this is an important emotional moment, that the physical print is the key to that.
You'll never tell someone, oh, let's sit down and look at my Facebook feed for the last 15 years. Like, it makes no sense.
Right.
But you'll sit down with a glass of wine or a cup of coffee and go through a photo album.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to share the experience that were those moments in time.
The analog film business is coming back, driven by this idea. So what would you say to somebody, well, why wouldn't you just shoot film?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Photo retailers, energize your sales with ShareMe Chat, the proven texting platform. Using chat to text on your website keeps your customers connected and buying. See us at Pro and IPI to find out why dealers using ShareMe Chat close more sales without adding staff. Find out more at shareme.chat.
I'd be glad for them to shoot film. For us, we're not competing against film.
Okay.
We're adding to the equation of value. That's all we are doing.
It's just another
film
option. Because, for example, a lot of people are having a hard time even accessing film processing. Even finding a working camera these days is a challenge.
Yeah, they're getting harder to find. You got to find, and there's a learning curve to it. And there's another essential part of that is you have to have it with you all the time.
Right.
We already carry our phones everywhere. Now you have to carry a camera, extra film. Then you have to have it developed. The labs are getting scarcer and scarcer to have them develop.
Right.
They do a great job. However, I think film photography it's an art form, and it'll remain that. However, being able to attain the same or somewhat same value at the end of the process with your phone, it's kind of convenient and it's accessible to everyone.
Right.
And it's accessible at every moment, mostly because you already have your phone all the time on you. So we're kind of bridging that gap between tech and film photography.
Right.
But we don't compete with it. And we believe that film photography should remain and has its place, because there's something about the grain, the composition of the image itself, the way it's done, all the lenses, all the hardware that surrounds that environment, like the camera itself. And some cameras will give you that vintage or style of photography. It'll be hard to capture with the phone. It's still, you'll play tricks behind they'll do a Wizard of Oz style app that'll kind of mimic that, but it's not the real thing.
Right.
So for us, it's not about taking place of film photography, but being more of an add-on to that space. And also there's also the, an environmental factor as well, that film development does have its weight on the environment. It's a heavy metal composition products and whatnot. And if we can limit that to some extent, and it'll still allow people to have their film experience, but without having the hassle. And now most of our partners are all really big on making it environmental friendly prints. So we're kind of doing that. You already have your phone. You're not buying extra hardware. You're not, buying extra stuff, basically. We look at a lot of we see a lot of, I hate the word gimmicky, because I'm sure it has its value, but you have a lot of hardware with single-use plastics for, just take your current disposable camera. Yeah. That's a whole landfill. That once it's done, it's going to the landfill.
Yeah. Well, some of them are reclaimed.
Yeah, are reclaimed and repurposed, but it's extra plastic, it's extra stuff, and it's extra money that you're going to spend for basically the somewhat same experience that we provide.
So speaking of partners, what countries are you in?
Currently, we're within Canada. We are doing Europe, the UK, and we should be opening up more regions within the summer. We're looking at Australia, New Zealand. We are going to step into India as well, and hopefully Japan by the end of the summer.
Awesome. And what's been the marketing approach? How have you been getting the word out? I mean, I came across you just on LinkedIn for some reason. I said, oh, this is really cool. I got to talk to this guy. But I haven't really seen much else in terms of marketing from you folks. How are you getting the word out?
We've pushed out, it's on the App Store. It'll be on the Play Store as well within the next 2-3 weeks. By mid-May, I'd say, to end of May, will be available on the Play Store as well for Android. We had our first version, V1, is out right now. And that was to be used by our influencers mostly. That's where what our marketing is going to go, is mostly put it in the hands of people that create the best content out there. And they're probably a lot better than we are. And we want to see the regular people using it, what they make of it. So that was our initial goal, was to get it out, get it in the hands of our social media influencers and people that will be like you, that are kind of get to use it, see what it does. And through that, we've got our V2 coming out in about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, that all the influencer got back to us and say, okay, this is what's wrong with your app, or not wrong, but we'd like to see happen before we push it. And that's what we're, took all of that input and pushing out the V2 by the end of the month, so that responds more. And now after that, you'll see Lumica appear on here and there in different social media platform, TikTok.
What was some of the feedback and improvement? Because was it like the UI interface on the camera?
Yes, it's mostly UI stuff and interface as well. Initially, right now, if you buy a film roll on Lumica, it's either a 24 or 36 shot, and you have to basically commit to buying either a black and white film or a different color scheme film, basically like a classic 400 and all that jazz. What a lot of influencers came back to is like, it would be nice if we could just commit to a 24 shot or a 36 shot, and then for every picture, basically be able to change either to a black and white, to a different color scheme.
Okay.
And another thing that came up was a lot of people open the app and they're like, where's the camera? And our camera was located behind the paywall, basically. So you had to purchase a film to give you access to the camera. So we molded that. Now, when you open our app version 2.0, you're straight on the camera. You can actually test all of the different style of films. And from that point on, you can either buy a 24 or 36 shot and shoot whatever of those styles you want. So basically everything lives on the camera.
So you're not so rigid in your approach and saying, well, no, you got to commit to monochrome, right? I mean, that's
exactly.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
At least you'll be able to switch from one to the other on the same film, basically. And to us, that was we didn't compromise our idea or our motive. We're just changing the way it's served, basically.
Sure. No, that makes a whole lot of sense, because honestly, there are times where you're like, I kind of wish I could use color in this instance in that. So where are you getting the color or the film formulations from, like the looks? Because they're not like, they're different names for what I assume are like classic formulations.
Yeah, we're mimicking some of the famous films out there and textures that we can engrain from the classic era of photography. And we're trying to approach it with as much respect as we can. We know we'll never make like a Kodachrome exactly how it is.
Right.
To me, is like, we don't want to be a Kodachrome. We just want to give you something similar as an example.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm even, Kodacolor Gold would be great. Right.
So we're playing with those a lot, and we apply that in a very different fashion than all the other apps out there. So we had to research and develop our own kind of way to apply, because we're not applying a filter per se on top of your image. We're actually changing every little pixel in that photo. When you're looking at your screen, it's live, and we're using an approach that's more cinematographic, if I can say that word.
Yeah,
it's an approach that would be used that is used more for cinema, and it gives us a lot of control over our imagery, and that we're able to actually create our own little camera module that allows us to play with that and have really rich films. People will see that and enjoy that for what it is too, as well.
What about like weirdo formulations like infrared or something like that? I mean, just to give sort of experience would be kind of fun.
Yeah, eventually, we'll listen to what people want, and at the same time, we want to welcome as well, like photographers or people that are in the industry and have their own take and say, hey, we'd like to collaborate and have a specific film that reflects my work. And I know people that are following me would like to see that happen. I have my little tweaks, so we can work with them as well and create their own little film. And the idea behind it is eventually to have a lot of different film roll, or we call them film profiles, that you can actually pick and choose from, maybe for 30 or 40, and just add them to your camera and be able to switch between those 10 that you really like, but really have almost like a store of all these different textures and colors that you can actually choose from.
Because theoretically, there could be all the films that there were.
And that's the whole point, like putting it in the hands of people. People want specific things, and we'll cater to that. Because at the end of the day, we want people to take pictures and make memories. Yeah. For whatever that is. Yeah. To them.
Yeah. So how did you get interested in starting this? Because you do not have a photographic background. You're not from the industry per se, right?
I developed some black and white when I was a kid in college and stuff, like a lot of people did. And it all came to me as I was having dinner with my daughter, and she at the time was 14 and she wanted a film camera. She came back from her grandmom looking at photo albums. She was like, kind of sad, I don't have a photo album. I was like, well, we have tons of pictures of you on a hard drive. So I'd like to put it together, and also I'd like a camera so I can start adding it to it. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I told her we'd look at buying a film camera and, get her started with some film and so on and so forth. And in the same discussion, it was like, there must be an app that you could use on your phone, that like a smartphone, to recreate this workflow basically. And looking at the App Store and Play Store, everywhere we look, there's tons of photo apps out there.
Mm-hmm.
They mostly offer either you take a picture, you can modify it, you can apply different filters and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it's still not printed. It's not going to be in your hands. It's not going to be in your fridge. It's not going to be in an album. It's not going to be anywhere.
Right.
So after much research, we found that nobody was doing this, and it was an opportunity for us to do it and create something that reflected our values in there. After a dinner 2 weeks later with friends and family, we decided to make it happen, basically. That was during COVID. And we created this app called Polkadota, which was our MVP, kind of just testing the waters. We did that for the province of Quebec mostly, and got some feedback from all our users. And oddly enough, people were buying one film after the other and enjoying once they had their first film finished, they would purchase a film really quite quickly after they received their photos.
Right.
And once that started, people just kept going.
Right.
And we realized, there's some need for this. There's a demand for this ease of having prints. And even though all your pictures aren't like should have or incredible, maybe 5 out of those 24s will be crazy memories that you'll put somewhere.
Right.
They die somewhere, or they'll be passed on to family members or whatnot. But it's still better than 100% of your phone's pictures just lying there. So we pushed that out, and after Polkadota, we just sat back, picked up all the comments and all the feedback we got, and we started working on Lumica. And through that, we went through a lot of VCs. It was like, let's raise money to make it happen. And that's when we realized, like most VCs out there couldn't see the value that we were seeing in it. And a lot of them wanted to get in, but at the same time, kind of dilute the idea of making memories and the passion.
Can you put it on Instagram?
Yeah. How can I make it on? How can I put it on Facebook? Well, you can't. If it's for you, it's for you and your loved ones, or the ones that actually matter in your life.
Right.
And that pushed our reflection even further, and we just elected basically to not go in that direction. Actually, we are not a social media company. We're not. We're never going to be. We don't want to go there. What we do is create memories. And so we self-funded the whole thing. It took a lot longer to develop because because pretty much getting to raise your own money. And at the same time, it got us to build the product we wanted to see. And now it's coming out, and it's a reflection of our values. It's a reflection of what we wanted to produce. It's uncompromised by anyone.
Right.
Hopefully people see value and they post comments on it, and we can tweak it to their likings as it grows.
And being bootstrapped, you have the opportunity, therefore, to kind of control your own destiny, right? You don't have a schedule you have to make to say, listen, we need to reach this point where either the investors want to get paid out or bought out or wherever. So you can maintain your vision. You're going to find out if it's going to work or not, right? I mean, that's part of the fun of it is you could be on to the next great thing, or you could not be. And it's kind of all up to you.
Yeah. And at the same time, we built this for us to begin with. And even if it stops there, it's an awesome experience. We built something that looks like and acts like we wanted. It's our pure idea.
Right.
Undissolved, uncompromised. We don't have to give excuse to anyone for anything. And not having that pressure that you're talking about is a very, very good way to look at it. Because having a deadline, a bottom line to always be looking at is a stress that we never experience. And it's been an awesome experience. I think it made it on a human scale an amazing experience of meeting people for the right reasons.
Right.
So everybody we met along the way were really passionate about this idea. Even at looking at our providers, the people that we work with through globally for our providers, everyone's passionate about what we're doing. and they're seeing value in it. And we created this relationship, uncompromising, anything. And they see it as added value.
Right.
And it's funny because you'd see a VC and you'd be like, no, you need to put, we need some social media. We need to be able to put some, or have.
What about some video? Can you make some video?
Yeah. Or can you put, we're an ad hoc company, meaning that we're not going to push a film every month on you. We're not going to give you, buy a film at a subscription. Thank you. Okay. So we don't do the subscription model. We don't want to do the subscription model. What we do is allow you to make memories.
Right.
That's it. You buy a film when you need it. You can use it for a whole year. We don't care. You use it whenever you want and what you feel is important to you. And when you're done, just go print. It's done. You don't have to think about it again. No, and there's not going to be another one coming up next month either. It is the moment now. And it's surprising once you start using this app, how your relationship with the photos you take change. Because for every photos you're going to go, is this worth 1 out of 24 photos? Is this moment something I want to cherish? Is this something I want to, am I bringing something to the world that's valuable with that photo?
Right.
And that little thought is actually adding to that value.
Right.
And it's funny because, and then once you're done, you get your pictures and you're like, I don't remember taking that picture, but it's awesome.
Right.
And now like it makes sense. And I'm sure you remember getting photos. I know as a kid, my mom would buy like a film roll for the summertime.
Right.
And then you'd get to like September or August and she'd get that developed and you'd be like, oh, I didn't remember. Oh, you got that moment. I didn't know you were taking a picture or this or that. And you could taste that moment. You could remember that moment like very precisely.
Yeah.
And that's what we're bringing back. I get that from a tangible picture.
Yeah.
And sharing photos is something, it's funny too. It's something that I rediscovered through our app is giving photos to people.
Right.
The reaction you get back is like, wow.
You thought enough to give me a physical print. That's crazy.
Exactly. You don't just share something or post it somewhere and expect it and getting out of my way to get it in your hands physically. And that attention too is awesome. To me, is like another blessing in this app that you can't design that per se. Right. It's like it's not in the UI. It's something that as human beings we appreciate.
I think it's interesting. You touched on a couple of points which I thought were kind of interesting because it really harkens back to the analog days. One was, not every picture is awesome. I mean, in the old days of analog, about 5 or 6 out of a roll of 24 were really great. The rest were kind of meh. And the other one was when you said about keeping it for a year, because there were a lot of stories back in the day of, the joke was a Christmas tree on each end, right? You had the Christmas tree at the beginning of the roll and then at the end of the roll because they took a whole year to take the picture.
Yeah. Exactly. And our app allows that. You can have multiple films on our app. You don't have to have one film, and you can have a film for, call it, and you give it a name, basically like family photos, basically 2026. And then throughout the year, you'll take your family photos with that. And then you go for a dinner party and say, oh, I'll name this dinner at Gary. And, I'll put your address as a delivery. And throughout the dinner, I'll take a 24 shot of everybody is there, the meal and everything. And when I'm done leaving your house, I'll go just print, done.
Oh, that's awesome. A cool idea.
Getting photos of your own dinner that you've got everybody here. And then you'll probably go like, hey, Pat, thanks for the pictures. By the way, I got this awesome shot of you and your spouse or whatever, and share those pictures. And that dinner has suddenly a whole different dimension. Awesome. It's memorable. Yeah. It's something that's going to be living in some places or maybe on a fridge somewhere. Right. And it's awesome. It's adding value to your life through those little moments.
Yep.
And a lot, like you were saying, a lot of those pictures are imperfect, but so are we, and so are our lives. We're just in an illusion that everything should be perfect. And that's the pressure of social media. Hence why we're not a social media company.
Right.
The app isn't perfect. Nothing's perfect. Life isn't perfect. So this is just a reflection of us.
Yeah. I mean, social media is designed to make you consume more of it, right? That's how it's designed for. And clearly with your product, it's really designed more to relive the moment, not necessarily consume more of the same kind of content.
You could say better. Definitely. 100%. Exactly. That's what it is. It's like to be able to, you can't have more of that moment. It was then,
Right.
but you can carry the memory with you. And carrying it with you is actually having a tangible image. You don't have a picture until it's printed. Done. For us, that's our go-to.
Awesome.
So until then, you'll only have pixels on a hard drive or on a phone or somewhere on the cloud. And I think the younger generations now are slowly understanding ownership as well.
Yeah.
Own your pictures. Own something that is yours. It's not on the cloud. It's not in some company's phone that's all of a sudden could go away. No, it's for you to own. You own those moments. You own those memories. You decide what what you do with it. And that's another thing that's, we see that in a lot of different industry. And I've had a YouTube lately called Cheap Audio Man. He made the YouTube on ownership of music and how important it's coming back, like to have your own.
I mean, the LPs are coming back and DVDs are coming back. All this stuff is definitely coming back.
It's not only owning the music, but you own the experience of listening to a full album.
Yeah.
And for us, the same goes for living through your photo album as it was meant to be as you grow up. You see baby pictures all the way up to today.
And it's a similar, not all music is worth listening to an entire album, but the great ones are.
But it's part of the experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I wanted to experience Lumica Photo, where can I go for more information?
You can come to our website, lumica.photo. And otherwise, the App Store, Lumica, we're there, Lumica. And the Play Store in the coming weeks as well will be there for Android as well. Android will benefit straight to the V2 of our UI. So that's awesome. And otherwise, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on X, I'm on all those unfortunate social media platforms. And we're always open for ideas or the comments. We're just trying to make the best experience for people out there and make memories.
It's been great getting to know you. This is fun. I can't wait to try the app out. I highly recommend everyone go and download it and give it a try. It's fun to, and like you said, you get the decision-making process. You got to stop and reflect before you take the picture. And that's what,
and if you want it, that's it. You don't crop, it's a one-shot deal.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Pat. Take care. Good to see you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.